officially welcome everybody. We'll get going. All right. Good morning, everyone. So glad that everybody could join us today. Today is Thursday, November 5th, and we'd like to welcome you to today's webinar, Doing Business with NASA. And today's webinar is part of a series for our Ohio Business Matchmaker event. Now, the Ohio Business Matchmaker is our largest signature contracting event that we put on, and we are so glad that you can join us. My name is Shonda Harris, and I am with the U.S. Small Business Administration, and we'd like to welcome you to today's session. The Matchmaker, for some of you that may not be aware, again, is our signature contracting event. We've been doing it for about 13 years now, and it's an opportunity where we allow small businesses to connect with government agencies. And that's at the federal level, the city, the state, the counties, municipalities, and even we do have some colleges and universities that participate. So as a small business, if you are doing business maybe in the private sector, commercial sector, and you want to elevate and take your business to the next level and look to do business with government entities, then the Matchmaker event is for you. So today, you will be learning how to do business with NASA. In order to put on such a large event and being able to do this over the course of 13 years, there is a collaborative effort between a number of partners where we're able to provide this. We are doing a host of webinars leading up to the event, and our partners, we are glad that we can continuously work with them to assist U.S. small businesses with whatever needs that you may have relating to learning about doing business with government entities. One of those partners is the Ohio University PTAC, Procurement Technical Assistance Center. We also have Ohio Development Services Agency, the Ohio Small Business Development Centers, the Ohio MBAC Minority Business Assistance Centers. So there's no way we could do this without having a collaborative effort from everyone. We would like to hear from one of the partners this morning and allow you to find out more about the Ohio University Procurement Technical Assistance Center and all of the services that they can provide to you. So we are going to allow Ms. Sharon Hopkins to give us a little bit more information about what PTAC is and the services that they provide.
Thank you, Shonda. Good morning, everyone. I'm glad you were able to join us this morning. We are, the PTACs offer a variety of services related to government contracting. So we work with you to determine the level of government contracting, where you need to start, if it's a local level or state or federal. We only do contracting with government agencies. We do not assist with business to business, but only your business to government. And we do a variety of things. To start with, we help you prepare capability statements, which is a marketing document for your company that government agencies understand. It kind of talks their language, so we help you prepare that. We look at where you're ready to jump into the market and where you should be registered. Every level of government has different requirements, so therefore we help you with all of that. We also look at set-aside opportunities. That usually is dependent on how your company is set up, whether you're woman-owned, whether you actually exist in a hub zone. And we help you look at criteria on set-aside certifications. And if you're interested in following through and obtaining certification, then we also can help you through the application process We don't do it for you. We advise you along the way, and we can also help you with, as you're gathering your documentation to submit to back up your application, we can also advise you on the things you need. Many of our counselors are also certified veteran-owned business counselors. So that's a special training that many of us have went through to assist the veteran owned small business to obtain certification through the VA. And especially for the service disabled veteran owned small business. We offer a bid match, so that will match what you do using keywords and coding against what the government's buying, and you would receive those bids on a daily basis. And then once you have identified a bid, especially if you're new to bidding government jobs, we will sit down with you, help you understand the solicitation package, and then give you advice along the way of you developing your quote or your proposal. We also work with companies that, or even an individual that might have an invention that the federal government's interested in. And that is a SBIR grant. So we also do all of the contracting functions around that to assist and to guide you in your proposal development, as well as understanding what the needs are for a government entity. And then as you submit your bids and your proposals, we're hoping you're going to win. We are extremely excited for all of our clients that win.
Yes.
And then we also will do follow-up post-award types of things. The biggest thing that we do post-award is usually to help you figure out how to get paid. So that's usually our biggest request, but we can do a number of things post-award should you have problems there. And then we just give you marketing tips on marketing to government agencies as you go through that process. So Ohio University PTAC is part of the statewide PTAC. We serve 62 counties. OU has sites in Cincinnati, Dayton, Columbus, Pickerington, Athens, Akron, Cleveland, and then also at Lakeland Community College. We also have 2 other centers in the statewide, one at YSU over in the Youngstown area, and then one at Rhodes State Community College in Allen County. And then we also have a PTAC in Southern Ohio, the Southern Ohio PTAC. So all of us are available to assist you in your government marketing efforts. The website for our statewide, and you can find all the locations, so you can contact the office nearest or that serves your counties, and you'll see the list and the counties are color coded. And that website is www.find.govcontracts.ohio.gov. And we will also put that in the chat for anybody that's interested in that. So I think I've covered the majority of what we do, Shonda.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sharon. And we do have several PTAC counselors that are joining us on the presentation today, as well as our PTAC statewide manager. Just a couple of things to prepare you for the Matchmaker. The actual Matchmaker event will be November 17th and 18th. And so it will be virtual this year. So if you have not registered, you can visit the website, ohiobusinessmatchmaker.com. You can register. The cost is just $35 this year. So without further ado, we will go ahead and get started. Today's presenter for NASA is Ms. Trefelia Parker. and Trafilia is a program specialist with the Office of Small Business Programs at NASA in DC. So we are grateful to have Trafilia joining us today, and we will go ahead and turn it over to her. Thank you. Welcome, Trafilia.
Hi, Shanda. Thank you so much. And thank you to the amazing team at Ohio University and the Ohio PTAC. I'll just, again, introduce myself, Trafilia Parker. I'm with the NASA Office of Small Business Programs, and we're headquartered in Washington, DC, but of course we have NASA centers all over the United States. And before we get started, I will just say I'm glad to be back, even in this virtual environment. We were at Ohio University in Athens in, I believe it was July 2018, and for, again, a joint event. And it was, to this day, still one of our better outreach events. So again, it's great to be back with the two Sharons and with Shanda, and also with Karen. So we can get started. I believe Karen and I are going to tag team through this presentation. And if we can go to the next slide, please. So just a little bit about our organization. Again, the NASA Office of Small Business Programs, we're headquartered in Washington, D.C. The city's kind of shut down now, as the rest of the world is, due to the current pandemic. But if you're ever in D.C., we're in Southwest D.C. Near LaFont Plaza. Our headquarters is there, and our leader is Glenn Delgado, who is our associate administrator. And our vision is to promote and integrate all small businesses into the competitive base of contractors at the agency. And that's one of the reasons why we are here today and excited to partner with our friends in Ohio for this amazing event. Just a note, I see we have a note about our webinar series, and I think I'll talk about that a little later in the presentation. We talk about our different outreach tools. Next slide, please.
Okay, my name's Karen Weibel. I'm with the Ohio University PTAC in Cleveland, and I'm going to give you a few hints about just general government contracting. One of the things you want to talk about, we talk about with federal government contracting, this is NASA, this is everybody, what a huge market the federal government is. Things to consider about why you should look at federal contracting. Number one, huge market. Number two, on-time payment. Federal government agencies have 30 days to pay you from an accepted invoice. They're a great repeat customer. You deliver good quality products on time as promised, they will typically keep coming back to you. They want companies that they can rely on. Federal government contracting can bring dollars to your business's bottom line. There are companies out there getting this work, so why not let it be you? So when you're making the decision to go after government contracting, you want to know, what does the government buy? We tell people it's practically everything. When you're talking about NASA, it's going to be everything from paper clips to spaceships. So before you get involved, you want to know what you're really good at. That's called your core competency. The government marketplace is highly competitive, so you really need to determine whether or not what you are the best at and go after that space. When the government is looking at you, they want, and you've never done business with them before, they want to know that you've got a good commercial market presence. They want to know that they can rely upon you to deliver your goods or services as promised. And you've got to make sure that you've got the adequate financial resources in order to do that. You're going to have the cash flow there in order to keep your business afloat during your contract performance. You're going to have to pay for your products and pay for your employees. So you want to make sure you've got a good, strong cash flow. And then when we talk about making the investment, it's not investment necessarily in money, but it's investment in time and learning how government does things and the government way of talking about things. So there are a few things that you want to know when you're researching your market, and we're going to be going specifically on how to research with NASA, but there are other general websites that you can go to as well. Number one, you're going to want to know, when we're talking about NAICS codes, you want to know what the NAICS codes are for your business. That website there from the Census Bureau is the website you can go to look up the NAICS codes that apply to your business. You can have more than one NAICS code. You should pull together all the NAICS codes that you have. If you are a wholesaler distributor, you're going to want to know what the manufacturing NAICS codes are for the products that you sell. Other resources the government use. Beta SAM, that's where the federal government posts anything that they have out for bid that they value at over $25,000. You're going to find the NASA bids there. And places where you can do a little bit of background check on past spending habits, on types of businesses, contracts, all sorts of great background information on spending for the various government agencies are those two websites there. USA Spending and FPDS. I call them the amazing black hole of market research, because once you start looking, it's amazing what you find out, but it's going to tell you what agencies buy what you have to sell, who your competitors are, how much money is being spent in your space. Okay. Trufelia?
Hi, thank you, Karen. My apologies. So we can go to the next slide, please.
Okay. Next slide.
Yes, please.
Okay. Here's where I'm talking about. I'm sorry. We're a little rusty on this. We're not used to doing this together. This is where I go in. I would talk about when we're talking about knowing what your NAICS codes are and getting ready to bid. If you're not already registered in SAM and you're going to have to work with NASA, you're going to have to get registered in SAM, System for Award Management. You can go to the website. You can register for free. You're going to have your DUNS number. You're going to have your NAICS codes. You're going to have your tax EIN, your business checking account. You can get registered in SAM. You have to be registered in the SAM website in order to bid on anything in the federal space. If you get it is determined that you are a small business, it's also going to give you the opportunity to input information into the SBA's Small Business Dynamic Search. And it's a great way to market yourself as a small business by putting that information into that database. This is what the SAM website looks like. Make sure you go directly to the website. If the website that you pull up does not look like this, it isn't SAM. It's going to be a for-profit website. They're going to want money from you. You do not have to pay to get registered in SAM, and PTACs are set up to help you with your SAM registration to get you ready to bid on NASA contracts. Okay. Back to Trufelia.
Thank you, Karen. And again, thank you to the team in Ohio and to Karen, and everybody who is responsible for this event. I'm going to give you an update or just share some information with you on doing business with NASA Glenn Research Center. And just a kind of note off the top is each NASA center has its own unique personality and buying needs and requirements. So as we proceed through today's presentation and your consideration of engaging with NASA, just keep that in mind as you research and decide who you want to market your product or service to. Next slide, please. So NASA is, not one of the larger agencies, but we really have a big mission. And it's in 4 components that are reflected here: aeronautics research, human exploration and operation, science, and space technology. And as we go through the presentation and when we discuss our other NASA centers, you'll see the breakdown of our agency mission reflected in the different focus points for our individual NASA centers. So Glenn Research Center is one of our, I think we have 3 or 4 research centers. And so Glenn Research Center in Cleveland is one of those. Next slide, please. So we also have mission directorates. We have our aeronautics, aeronautics research, human exploration and operations, science, space technology, and mission support directorate. Just a side note, at headquarters, where my office is located in Washington, D.C., we fall under the Mission Support Directorate. And then there's, I believe you get a copy of these slides post-event, so you have an opportunity to visit each of those links, and they'll tell you a little bit more about what our Mission Directorates actually do. Next. So here's a high-level snapshot of our NASA centers. We have 10 centers. We also have the one FFRDC that is not on this chart, but it's the Jet Propulsion Laboratory that is in Pasadena, California. But this here is just a snapshot of all of our NASA centers. And again, Glenn is one of our research centers at the agency. Next, please. So I'm going to read to you Glenn Research Center's mission. And I'd also like to mention, and I believe we'll have her contact information at the end of this presentation. Ms. Eunice Adams-Sip is the small business specialist at Glenn Research Center. Each of our NASA centers has at least one small business specialist, and some centers, I think we have 3 centers that have more than one. I'm just going to tell you off the top, she's your advocate, and she's the one you need to make sure you reach out to when you've made a decision, after you've done your homework, that you definitely want to do business with Glenn. She's going to be the person you want to reach out to. So the mission at Glenn is to drive research, technology, and systems to advance aviation, expand human presence across the solar system, enable exploration of the universe, and improve life on Earth. And so I'm sure you've seen, or you may be familiar with, NASA, Moon, Mars, and beyond. And this just shows you a snapshot of Glenn's place in that overarching theme for our agency and where we're trying to go for now and in the future. So this is just a little snapshot about Glenn. Glenn Lewis Field is, if you've ever been to Cleveland, a lot of you may be in Cleveland or nearby, but it's right there near the airport. You'll see the big NASA, we call it the meatball, but it's the blue logo, and it's the center you can see from the airport or nearby. And then there's Plumbrook Station, which is in Sandusky, Ohio, where a lot of the other research activities take place there as well. And then there's just some information here on the chart regarding how many civil servants and contractors make up the crew of people that are doing work at Glenn Research Center. Next. So again, here are just some detailed information regarding the core competencies at Glenn Research Center: air breathing propulsion, communications, technology and development, in-space propulsion, and cryogenic fluids management. Again, this is information that is provided to you to compare that against what your product or service is, so that you might not provide the exact need or requirement, but you might provide a part of that. And so I know later when we go through, just talk about our prime and subcontracting dollars, you might see a place for where you may fit in at the work that's being done at Glenn. Next. And again, these core competencies continue. I'm not going to read them to you, but please take time after the event to explore them a little more. Next. So Artemis is one of our major missions. You've probably heard a lot about it. I'll just read kind of a little bit here, but Artemis and Gateway are 2 of our major current missions that you may want to learn about. But the Space Environments Complex, that's at Plumbrook Station, that's in Sandusky, is one of the first steps on the Artemis mission path. And the goal with Artemis is by 2024 that we would have sent the first woman and next man to the lunar surface. So as an agency, we're really excited about that. And we're really excited to partner with companies that can help us achieve that mission. Next. So Orion is a capsule that you see here. We can go to the next slide. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit about our office at our headquarters office in Washington, D.C. This is our vision statement, and it's to promote and integrate all small businesses into the competitive base of contractors that pioneer the future of space exploration, scientific discovery, and aeronautics research. And then our mission statement is there. That's one of the reasons that we're happy to be here with the folks from Ohio today, especially in this environment. You know, a large percentage of what we do at the Agency for Small Business is through outreach. And I think we've all had to take time to pivot and kind of shift our thinking and reevaluate how we do things. So we are so glad that we have this virtual environment that can still help us meet our mission and be in alignment with our vision for small business at NASA. Next. So this is just kind of a high-level list of different aspects, I'll say, of our organization. OSBP is what you'll hear me refer to it as. But again, we conduct outreach events. We influence small business policy and procedures. We make sure that we share that information across the agency so that, you know, we're acting as one NASA. We're all sharing the same message with internally and externally with our customers and our clients. We have a small business awards program that recognizes internal work in small business at the agency as well as external. If you're a current contractor with NASA, you're eligible. So we always say that we recommend that you reach out to the small business specialist at the NASA center that you support for that process. And we also have our NASA Mentor Protege program. I'll share a little bit about that later, but that's where we have one of our primes we have a list of primes that have volunteered to mentor small businesses. And NASA is one of, I can't recall offhand, I think we are one of 6 agencies that has our own standalone Mentor Protege program. And of course, there's the SBA All Small Mentor Protege program, but NASA does have its own. And all of this information is available on our website, osbp.nasa.gov. I think it's a very robust website with lots of information. I always recommend people spend a lot of time there just to learn about the agency and again about the centers that you might be interested in working with. Next. So this is just
I'm sorry. Did you want to?
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, go ahead.
No, you need to go ahead.
Well, I was just going to share that these are the federal spending goals, small business 23%, and then for each of the socioeconomic categories, for women, 5%, disadvantaged, 8A, 5%, hub zones, and service disabled veterans, 3%. But Karen, if you have something to share, please do.
No, I'm good. You covered it.
Okay, thank you. That's the fun of tag teaming in this virtual environment. So keeps us on our toes. Next slide, please. So this is information regarding our prime goals versus our actual goals at the agency. And I am not sure the time that this was. I believe this is around maybe the May-June timeframe. So we may have some updated information regarding this or where our numbers are today. And I'm happy to provide those in updated slides. But you see that our small business goal at the agency is 16%. Each federal agency works with the Small Business Administration to work together on agreeing on a reasonable goal for the agency. So ours was 16% for FY19, and we are at the time we're at 17.3%. So we're really proud of that work. And again, you can see the areas where we struggle as an agency have continued to be in our hub zone and women-owned goals. I think that's across the federal government. So we do a lot of work and outreach to the socioeconomic companies in those socioeconomic fields specifically to see if we can remedy some of that at NASA. Next slide. So this information here is specific to Glenn Research Center. This is as of April FY20, and these are the center's prime goals versus actuals. Glenn Research Center is one of the shining stars at NASA as far as meeting and exceeding its goals. I think all the goals have been exceeded with the exception of HubZone, but that's still a strong showing. The HubZone goal is 1.1% and Glenn is at 0.8. And the small business dollars at Glenn, looks like about half of the dollars spent, prime dollars at Glenn went to small business. And so that's really great. It shows that a lot of work is being done at the center to make sure we engage our small business partners. Next slide.
All right, there are various ways that the government procures items, including NASA, and these are just some of the ways that they go about it. Sealed bidding, that's quotes, you got to put in your offer. I open it up at a certain time and they give it to the best offer. Request for proposals, they're going to evaluate, that's going to be more your knowledge-based services, and that's going to be a lot for what NASA does. They're going to look at your solution to a problem, evaluate who's got the best answers. And price isn't always the #1 factor, but price is included. There's micro purchase thresholds, which vary by vendor. That's using a credit card. And then there are the GSA schedules, which are pre-approved contracts to sell your goods and services at pre-negotiated prices and terms. Then you get to put what you're offering onto the GSA website. And it's another way that the government buys things from you. Triphelia?
Yes, thank you, Karen. So NASA is realigning our requirements to have more of an agency-wide or enterprise approach to procurement and regionalized. And I will make sure that that information is included in the information that's sent out to the folks that are on the call today. So that means that the agency is shifting to a certain center will purchase, say, apples and oranges. That's all going to, as opposed to all each center selling apples or buying apples and oranges, that would all be done, one center or one region. So all of the agency's requirements have been realigned in that way. And so we'll make sure you get that information, and that also will help to influence how and where you want to market the agency. We have our NASA Shared Services Center, which does perform business activities for all 10 of the centers, including our procurement and grant awards. Our small business specialist there is Mr. Troy Miller, and I believe his contact will be available later in this presentation, but you want to make sure that you reach out to him. And then the last note on this slide is for Goddard Space Flight Center. Goddard is in Greenbelt, Maryland, and they have kind of twofold responsibilities regarding procurement. They have the procurement requirements for Goddard Space Flight Center, but also for NASA headquarters in Washington, D.C. So that is unique to the Goddard Space Flight Center. So in engaging with them about opportunities and requirements, just remember to consider that would apply to both Goddard and both to the requirements that are at NASA headquarters. Next slide. So this is our NASA acquisition forecast. The forecast is maintained by the Office of Procurement at NASA headquarters. And it's typically updated in May and October of each year. If you're someone who's been following NASA, you'll know that, full transparency, there has been a lag in it being updated. But I believe that as of mid-October, that the October version of the acquisition forecast has been updated. So that forecast shows our anticipated procurements at each center. very detailed. You'll definitely want to spend some time to kind of go through that. You know, again, all of this goes back to doing your homework. And I don't want to keep saying doing your homework, but it's so important because we want to make sure that in reaching out to a NASA center that, you know, it's a good use of your time and it's a good use of theirs. You want to maximize the impact of your reaching out. And so this is another way to accomplish that is by reviewing the acquisition forecast. And if you ever have issues with accessing it, always please reach out to our office. Of course, we're happy to help you or at least send you in the right direction, but the Office of Procurement at NASA maintains that, forecast. And that is the link to the forecast at the bottom of the slide. And so you should be able to access it there. Next. So this is just a quick note about sources, sought notices. If you've been to any of our events, whether in person or online, that you know, we really emphasize the importance of taking time to reply to sources, sought notices, and not just, you know, replying with a generic or a response that you may have kind of like a canned response. We want to make sure that your response is unique to the requirement so that it can really be fully considered at the agency. And then the flip side of that is, you know, the challenges that we have as an agency when we do not get replies from small businesses to sources sought notices, because it makes it challenging for us as an agency to set it aside for those socioeconomic categories. So when you see those notices, please reply to them. And then reach out if you've had challenges with that process, just to provide us some feedback so that, you know, we can, our goal is continuous improvement. So we do want to hear from you regarding those. Next, please. This is just a little bit more information about sources sought notices. You know, how we use them as a market research tool at the agency to determine small business set-asides. Again, if we don't get any responses from small businesses, that whole first bullet point is mute because it implies that there's no interest or there's no small business that's able to do that work. And then these are the categories for the small business set-aside: 8A, women-owned small business, service-disabled, veteran-owned small business, and historically underutilized business zones. And I think that's it for that slide. Next, please. So this is kind of a do and do not list. And I talked about this up front. You know, don't submit your capability statement or a canned response. Make sure it's unique and applies directly to that particular notice. Supply the specific request and information. Don't submit brochures since they usually contain very general information. Again, you know, as specific as you can make your response to that particular notice, the better. Make sure to include your past performance information. Any affiliate information should be included as well. And familiarization with the affiliate and extensible subcontracting rule is a plus. Next slide. So this is a breakdown of NASA by NAICS code as well as by centers. So the top bar is our agency, our top NAICS codes for the agency. And then we've divided up the research center. So the first line of blue, those are our 4 research centers. So there's Ames Research Center, which is in California, Armstrong Flight Research Center, excuse me, is in California as well. And then there's Glenn Research Center, of course, in Cleveland, and then Langley Research Center, which is in Hampton, Virginia. And then we have our space centers, Johnson Space Center in Houston, Kennedy Space Center in Orlando, Marshall Space Flight Center in Huntsville, Alabama, and Stennis Space Center, which is in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. And then Goddard Space Flight Center, which I mentioned earlier, which does procurements for headquarters and Goddard. Goddard is our science center. And then our shared services center, where we discussed that earlier, that does buying for all 10 centers, is in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi as well. Actually, Stennis and NSSC, or NASA Shared Services Center, you can kind of walk across the street to visit each center. They're in that close of a proximity to each other. And then finally, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory is in Pasadena, California. And that is the federally funded research and development center. And Caltech runs the Jet Propulsion Lab. Next slide. So I am definitely not going to go through all of these. These are for FY 2021 upcoming major procurements. I may have an update to this when we post the final slide, but please take time to consider this information. And if there's anything of particular interest to you, please reach out to Eunice Adams Sipp, who's a small business specialist at Glenn, and she will happily, kind of take your hand and guide you through the process at NASA. Next. So this is a note about the Freedom of Information Act. I think this is provided for your general information. There are certain documents that you need to access, you can use this as a tool to do so. And then the link to the site is at the bottom of the page. Next slide, please. Oh, a little animation there. So NASA we're really proud. We have our Osbp Mobile App. And this is just another way that we're trying to be creative and engaging with companies and schools that are either currently doing business with NASA or that are interested in doing business with NASA. So the Osbp Mobile App is available on the Google and Apple platforms. You just go to download, and then you go to the Osbp Mobile App, or just type in Osbp Mobile, and I think it generally will pop up. But through the app, you can make appointments with our various small business specialists. We have our contracts that are listed there that you can access through the app. These contracts, we call them, if you've ever been to one of our outreach events, we call them ACLs, or active contract listing. And those are basically contracts that we know are recurring buys at each of the NASA centers. And so I believe we have about 8 or 9 categories, from admin services to engineering, IT for the agency, IT at Goddard, occupational services. Those types of contract listings are available through the app, and you can kind of sort them by center or however you would like to sort, but those are available there and are definitely updated frequently. We also have information for our tech advisors. Each NASA center has an appointed small business technical advisor, and they work in partnership with the small business specialist. So a lot of times our small business specialists may have a business or program background. The small business technical advisor brings in that technical expertise. So we always say, still engage with a small business specialist first, but many times they may bring in a technical advisor so that they can respond to the technical aspect of your product or your service. And then again, our agency prime numbers and contract numbers, metrics, are available through the app. That's important for us, and we think it's important for you to know as well, so that engaging with us, you can see where we are, we're transparent, and where we have need for improvement, and that can definitely be shown through our contract metrics. And then last is just kind of a fun, I call it a fun fact or fiction small business quiz that's on the app, and you can kind of take your time and go through that. Next.
All right. This is just some kind of nice hints about when you're getting ready to go after government contracting, and some things that again, we've gone over, but reiterating here, you want to know your customer. When you go to approach NASA or any federal government agency, you want to know who's buying your product or service, or otherwise you're wasting your time. How do they buy it and when they buy it? You also want to know how you are going to be helping that agency, how you fit, and what you can do to help that agency and their mission. In addition, you want to know the rules that they have to live by and you have to live by. So those are the federal acquisition regulations. You're going to want to read through all the contract requirements that they have with that agency. And then always remember that they want you to perform as promised. On-time delivery, quality product or service, competitive pricing. They're spending taxpayer dollars. They want to know they're spending them wisely, and they're hiring a company that's going to deliver as promised to help them in their mission. Some things not to do. Don't ever be afraid to ask questions or get clarification. When you're looking at a proposal and they have a due date, pay attention to the due date. Don't submit it late. It can be, if you submit it late, it can go directly into the trash. When you do something late, show up late for an appointment, deliver a late proposal, it's showing yourself to be unreliable. Don't overpromise. Remember, you need to be able to deliver what you are saying you're going to be delivered. Being unprepared means doing that research, and NASA is wonderful about giving you a lot of tools there to do that research. Be succinct, don't waste their time or yours. Make sure your paperwork is in order. Don't give them information that they don't need. Give them the information that they do need to know whether or not you're a company that can help them. Again, they're not there to help you. You are there to help them. So don't be demanding or difficult. And don't be unrealistic. Success doesn't happen overnight. This last one, this came from NASA themselves about being a pest. Give them time. I know all these NASA people are extremely busy, but they are diligent and take their jobs very seriously, and they will get back to you. You just got to give them a little bit of time. Triphilia?
Thanks, Karen. And just a note about that last bullet, our associate administrator in his talking points, he always says, be persistent, but not a stalker. So that was a nice way to put it, not to be a pest. But it's true, to be persistent, but realize that they have a lot on their plates, and they definitely will get back to you, but just give them some time. So thank you for that, Karen. Next. So this is a list of, again, all of our centers by category, but all of the small business specialists that are there. Just wanted to note that Christine Monroe, she is responsible for 2 NASA centers. So when you reach out to her, just know that she's responsible for Ames Research Center and Armstrong. And then up under Armstrong is your point of contact at Glenn Research Center, which is Miss Eunice Adams Sip. And Eunice is actually our reigning small business specialist of the year. So out of all of the agency small business specialists, she won the award for the top small business specialist, and she really is great. They all are. So it's hard to choose, but Eunice is the reigning small business specialist of the year. So that's their email information and their phone numbers. Please feel free to reach out to them. Next. Oh, great. These are the center's small business websites. This is great. You can go directly to each center's website from this slide, and this information, as well as the previous slide, is on our website. So you have 2 ways to get it, but this is great to have it here in the snapshot. Next. And then this is a list of our references up at the top, which, I'll keep saying, this is next to Eunice. This is probably your most important resource. Our website just has so much information there. And and it's really beneficial for you to, spend some time on that website. But there's information about our vendor database. And our vendor database is basically where you can, companies or schools can input their information onto a Google form, I believe. And on a monthly basis, the information is shared at the agency, as well as companies who've agreed to can go in and download that. So if you wanted to directly reach out to someone, or if one of our NASA folks has a requirement, they want to directly reach out to you, they have access to your information through that platform. And again, our OSBP mobile app, our electronic reading room. Again, our acquisition forecast is updated in May and October each year, so there's the link for that. And then, of course, our other references that we want to share that are external to the agency, but are very important to your path and journey. And one of the reasons why we're here today is our the Small Business Administration, and as well as your reaching out to your local PTAC. And our SOUP is our agency's system solutions for enterprise-wide procurement, and that is NASA system, and that is there. Darlene Cohen is the director for that, and her information, as well as the information about SOUP, is at that link there. Next slide, please. I'll give the information for Eunice, and then Karen, I think I'll turn it over to you. But again, this is Eunice's information. Her email address, the website for Glenn Research Center's procurement specifically, and then at the bottom on the left column is information to reach us at NASA headquarters. So Karen, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay. This has my contact information here in Cleveland. I cover 4 counties: Cuyahoga, Lorain, Erie, and Huron. Underneath that is the link to the Ohio PTAC website that Sharon had mentioned at the beginning, find.govcontracts.ohio.gov. There, if you are an Ohio-based business, you can find the PTAC office located closest to you. And if you are not in Ohio, you can go to the APTAC website, the Association of Procurement Technical Assistance Centers, and they have a lovely map where you can look up the APTAC or the PTAC center that is closest to you where you live.
Thanks, Karen. And just a note about the APTAC, I think our Associate Administrator, Glenn Delgado, is speaking at an APTAC conference event on November the 9th. I have to find that and make sure your team has it. But there's a Osbp Directors panel, I believe, on the 9th of November. So this is a comprehensive overview of how to reach the small business office at NASA. What's up top? Our website, hands down the best place to go. And then there's our phone number. If you need to call us, even in this virtual environment, we have someone there that can assist you. And our email address is smallbusiness@nasa.gov. Many times in these webinars, if there is a Q&A session, we answer as many questions as we can. But if we can't, feel free to always send us any questions, and we'll make sure that we can either answer it directly or make sure it's routed to the right organization or person, and they can help you out. And then the last 3 bullets, I guess, or 3 icons are how you can reach out to us or connect with us on social media, on Twitter, Facebook, and on the OSBP mobile app. Next, I think that may be it. Thank you. Thank you again for joining us today. Thank you for having me. I'm not Eunice, but I'm glad to be here. I'm going to turn it back over to Shanda.
Well, thank you so much, Trafilia. I know that was a lot of information that you shared about NASA. I learned some new things, and I was taking notes. So thank you so much. It was wonderful to be able to do the interactive session with Karen. At the beginning of the session, I talked about how we're able to put on the Matchmaker event because of the wonderful partnerships that we have. But, and that is with partnerships with resource partners. But we also have wonderful partnerships with our agencies, and something that Trafilia had brought out. So I just want to piggyback on that. We are excited that even though we have partnered with NASA on an event in the past that she mentioned at 2018 down at OU for an event, we are definitely looking forward to having them participate in this year's Matchmaker. I know they were slated to last year, but they were unable to. So we are definitely looking forward to having them participate in this year's Matchmaker. So again, thank you so much, Trafilia, for putting this on. As just to kind of recap some of the things that Trafilia mentioned today, if you are interested, if you notice, there were several areas of core competencies that NASA has to offer. And so if you as a small business believe that you can fulfill some of those, don't feel overwhelmed if this is your first time, you've never done business with a federal agency. That's why we had the PTACs there to interact, to say all of the services that they can provide, kind of from beginning to end as it relates to procurement and government contracting. So if you notice some of the things that NASA has to, that the type of services that they're looking for, and you as a small business can provide those, please feel free to reach out to definitely Karen if you are in the Cleveland area, or whatever area that you're closest, you find that you're closest to the PTAC, whatever PTAC counselor you have, and then definitely to Eunice that's in Cleveland at the Glenn Research Center. So as we are sharing the comments, I do believe we have questions that are coming in. Again, just saying great, excellent presentation, Trafilia, today. So thank you once again. Here is a question that someone has. How does NASA work with SBA's 8A program? Are there any set-aside opportunities for 8A companies? Great question, Sharon. So if you could, Trafilia, and I am I'm a business opportunity specialist with the SBA district office here in Columbus, and I do work, myself and Jill Nagy Reynolds work directly with 8A firms to help them manage the portfolio. So if you could let us know, how do you work with the 8A program and any set-asides that you have for 8A companies?
Hi, thank you. So in my role at headquarters, I personally do not work with 8A companies through that process. Our small business specialists do. I know that, yes, we do have set-asides. So that's the first part of that answer. But how that relationship works specifically, I can't answer that. I would probably defer to Eunice, and then Shanda, if you wanted to just talk in general about that relationship with SBA, please do.
I can, and I will just kind of reference, I know we were privileged to be able to facilitate a webinar with Eunice, I believe last year, and just kind of referencing some of the things that she brought up then. I know there are some procurements that the agency had at the time. I know, especially in the IT area, and I believe also there were some janitorial services at the time that they had as 8A set-asides. And so I believe one of the things that Trafilia, piggybacking what she said during her presentation, one of the things that you can work with PTAC on is doing your homework and researching the upcoming forecast that the agency, if it's not there for fiscal year 21, it probably will be there soon in the coming maybe months before the end of the year or at the beginning of January. But then also looking at NASA and what they have purchased in the past, as well as the goals that they met. So that's a great way to kind of research kind of what type of set-asides that the agency has specifically for 8A. But I do know there is an IT contract that they've had, and it may be for like 5 years that they may have an IDIQ, and also I believe for janitorial, and there could definitely be more but that would be a great way to, and I'll pitch this back again for PTAC, to work with your PTAC counselors, because they definitely can research that information with NASA and what they have, not just for the 8A program, but for woman-owned set-asides, for hub zone set-asides, to see what they have available. So actually, great question, Sharon. Here we have another question. And even as we are going over these, please feel free to go ahead and type your questions in. We do have enough time to go over those. Someone is bringing up about the sources sought, because you mentioned that. Are sources sought notices listed, or does your company need to register for those notifications?
Right. So they are listed. If you go to our procurement website that we listed, you can find them there. But internally at small business, one of the ways we try to amplify, I guess, the audience that those notices go out to, we encourage companies and schools to register in our small business vendor database. That way, anyone at the agency has access to that, and they can send those out, you know, full blast, or they can directly send those to companies that may have included in their capabilities blocks, because there is an opportunity on that vendor database to kind of provide a brief. It's not your full capability statement, and you can't upload a document, but just provide a brief listing of your capabilities. So we may send it directly out to you there.
Okay, wonderful. So
Yeah.
Definitely get registered in their vendor database so you can stay abreast of sources sought information. And then also continue to, I'm going to mention again with PTAC, if you sign up to get their bid match notification, when you sign up with your company's NAICS codes and core, with your keywords and your core services, that may be another opportunity that you may get sources sought notifications when you have that bid match notification that comes to you on a daily basis. So that's great. And then working with, again, the PTACs to kind of tailor your response, as Trafilia was saying, and not have like a canned response, but kind of tailor and customize your response to definitely meet what the agency is looking for, both with your core competencies and definitely mentioning your past performance. All right. Another question here. Would someone contact your Office of Small Business Programs, the officers that you mentioned, if they're interested in the SBIR opportunities, if they're in a field where they are doing research and development and they're interested in the SBIR grants? Is there a specific office or a point of contact that they should connect with, Trafilia?
Yes, there is. I was on my other computer. I didn't want to put in the wrong address, but I will include it in the chat. So we do have an SBIR, STTR office at NASA. The website is, I'll put it in the chat, but it's sbir.nasa.gov. I'm trying to figure out the best person for you to talk to there. I will take that as an action to follow up and just provide you with a point of contact, but a starting place would definitely be to access that website. I think we just had, I believe it was the week of October 19th or 20th, there was the kind of the agency-wide SBIR STTR conference that took place. It was virtually, but definitely a wealth of information on that website, you know, as far as contact information and resources, but also for virtual events that they're hosting to engage companies as well.
All right. And then maybe Trafilia, after this, maybe you can add that to the slides. Absolutely. And so that will be made available and people can contact the appropriate point of contact for SBIR. And also with that, that is definitely a great question. And someone just posted, actually, Trafilia just put that website in the chat, and I believe she'll be incorporating it into her slides. But that is, if you definitely are in the research and development field, as that is part of NASA's mission directorates and their 10 centers. Great opportunity for you to get involved with SBIR. And I know that's also another area that PTAC, a focus of PTAC, that they're incorporating. So if you do want to get more information about that, then definitely check out the slides. Another question that we have here, is NASA participating in the Matchmaker this year? Great question, Sharon.
I hope we are. I believe we are. Again, I got today's event and the one later in November confused. I believe Eunice is participating, but we've definitely marketed the event to all of our small business specialists. I'll probably touch base with Sharon Smith to see if he signed up and follow up with them again directly to make sure that we have some representation at the Matchmaker. Again, our associate administrator still talks about the event 2 years ago of how well that was and how much he thought it was just a benefit to the agency and to the attendees. So we hope we can support it again this year.
Oh, absolutely. We'd love to definitely have NASA there and any representatives, Eunice, as well as any other representatives to participate with us. Yes. Are there any additional questions that we have? And if not, looking for my upcoming. If not, or if someone is going to be typing, I will just kind of share the next webinars that will be coming up so that if you're interested in participating in any more of the webinars, you can, this will be on your radar. Now that we've shifted into November and we're just a couple weeks out from the event, we will be doing 2 webinars a day. So today's webinar, this morning, this afternoon at 2 p.m., we will be doing business with the National Guard. So from 2 to 4, if you'd like to join us, you definitely can participate in that. If you are not registered, you can go to the website to do so. And then on Tuesday, November 10th, at 9:30 to 11, we will be doing, having the webinar, Doing Business with the Army Corps of Engineers. We're excited about that. Definitely, we've worked with the Army Corps before and on other events, but I believe this will be the first time that we will have them present and actually be a part of the Matchmaker. So we do look forward to always adding additional agencies, and with the Matchmaker event being virtual, we're looking forward to definitely having more agencies, not necessarily just in Ohio, and maybe some more additional agencies in the contiguous states or even outside of this area, because it is being offered virtually. So the Army Corps is Tuesday, November 10th at 9:30, and then at 2 p.m. on the 10th, Doing Business with the State of Ohio. So again, a Matchmaker is about learning how to do business with not just the federal government, which NASA and the Army Corps of federal agencies, but also the state of Ohio. The state of Ohio has many different divisions and they're always looking to buy a variety amount of goods and services. So that'll be a great time for you to tune in on the 10th at 2 p.m. And then also on the 12th, this will be a nice day that we'll be providing 2 webinars, one at 10 a.m., Doing Business with Prime Contractors. So Prime Contractor is a company that has a direct contract with an agency, with a government agency or with a company. So sometimes if you're looking to break into the federal market and you haven't had any experience, sometimes doing business as a subcontractor to a prime is a great way for you to build some past performance. So we will have some large prime contractors, like I believe GE, I know they're working on the list. I don't know all of the prime contractors that they have solidified, but that should be a great opportunity for you to tune in to see what opportunities you may have. And then at 2 p.m., we'll be having a small business subcontracting panel. So I will be facilitating that. We have some wonderful small businesses, nice variety of businesses, IT, construction. So definitely tune in at 2 p.m. to hear them give some tips and best practices that they've used to build their companies up and launch into the federal market by working on subcontracting projects. And it looks like we have another question that has come in. Someone asked about the presentation. Yes, definitely the presentation will be available as well as the slides. If you go to, it's a good segue, to the ohiobusinessmatchmaker.com, the ohiobusinessmatchmaker.com, and then at the top of the page, you'll see various different tabs, and there will be a tab for upcoming webinars for you to register. And then there's another tab for you to access the previous presentations. So definitely ohiobusinessmatchmaker.com, click on the tab at the top. And I believe it's the tab to the left, furthest left, where you can access all of previous presentations, including, now today's, it may take a couple of days for them to post it, but it will be there. I will encourage you, especially if this is your first time kind of taking place in the Matchmaker, getting acclimated, doing business with any of the government agencies. One of the very first webinars that we did is what is the Ohio Business Matchmaker? Basically giving you an overview about the Matchmaker, what you can expect, how it works, how the agencies will register with their NAICS codes of the services and products that they're looking for, and then how you as a small business will register with your NAICS codes. And then there will be a match so that you will get a list of the agencies that may be a good fit for you to set up a session for you to actually engage with a representative from one of those government entities. So definitely check out that webinar, what is the Ohio Business Matchmaker? And I do believe, are we doing this year Making the Most? I believe that's coming up, Making the Most of the Matchmaker. Some tips of what you can do once the Matchmaker is over, after you've participated, as far as follow-up. So those are some webinars definitely that you should take advantage of and try to access. We do have another question that's come in. Okay, somebody wants the confirmation of the date of the subcontracting panel. Great. The subcontracting panel will be on Thursday, November 12th, so next week, at 2 p.m., 2 to 4 p.m. So that should be great. We have 5 companies, I believe all PTAC clients that, and I believe all of them have experience in doing business at various different government levels, federal, state, city, county, even some universities and colleges. So you definitely don't want to miss that panel on the 12th at 2 p.m. for the subcontracting panel. Someone has another question, great questions. How much, SBR annually, how much is paid in SBR annually by NASA? I don't know if I understand your question, Miguel. If you could, Miguel, if you're on here, if you can unmute yourself and maybe kind of clarify what your question is so that Trafilia can answer that for you.
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Apologies if the question was a bit confused.
That's okay.
Yeah, so our company is a software development company, and we are largely involved in software development with grant payment systems or grant management systems. Obviously, the SBIR stuff has a grant feel to it. So that's where we would like to engage with NASA in particular. So I'm just wondering, because that's the amount that's, you know, circulating annually with whatever grant system we're working on the software side, that lets us know the amount of work involved usually. So that's, I don't know if that's more clear, more confusing, but hopefully we can get an answer. If not, then, you know, we can follow up with the small business folks and try to get some technical people to answer us.
Yeah, so I think I hear you asking, so we have the different phases for phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 for NASA's SBIR STTR program. And each phase allots a certain amount to the selected entities. If that's your question, I did see a I do not know those numbers offhand. If that's your question, I can pull that presentation and again provide the information to the contact information to the SBIR office. But I did see that in a presentation just circulating at headquarters. I can provide that in my updated slides, maybe with the SBIR office's contact information, if that's what the question. If it's broader than that, I definitely don't know, like overall how much the agency has paid out or offered through the SBIR program. That type of information you would definitely need to get through the SBIR office.
Yeah, so thanks, Trufilia. So yes, the former is the question that I'm getting at. I understand you probably don't have that offhand.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've done a ton of research before we even joined these, like how to do business with NASA calls. So we know the prime that's doing the work. You know, we understand the office where it's coming out of, but it is a little blurry in terms of the amount.
Okay.
So that would have helped us get some clarity. But that is the question, yes.
Okay, I can definitely find that and include that in updated slides. Thank you.
No, thank you. And thank you, Shonda.
Yes, great question, Miguel. Are there any additional questions that we may have? Okay, don't see any more questions. Well, again, thank you so much, again, Trufilia Parker, for your presentation today and giving us such wonderful information about how our small businesses can get engaged with NASA. And it's always just a wonderful opportunity to be able to learn about all of the different work that NASA does and the centers that they have, research and space centers and the labs. So thank you again. Thank you again, Karen Wivel, for the interaction that you had and giving us information about PTAC and what small businesses, how small businesses can connect with the PTAC services if they are interested in doing business with NASA or any other government agency. Again, definitely follow up with PTAC. Sometimes it can look overwhelming and some of the information that you see or you hear on these presentations, but that's why PTAC is there to eliminate any hurdles that you may face, and then again assist you kind of from beginning to end as it relates to you getting engaged and working with government entities. So we definitely thank you for participating in today's webinar. We hope you can participate in our upcoming webinars that we're having, one this afternoon and the rest of the ones that we will have up until the event. And there's another comment here, NASA Langley and NASA Glenn. Okay, wonderful. So we just got notice that, thank you, Sharon Smith, NASA Langley, and I don't know exactly where they're located, and NASA Glenn, which is located in Cleveland, they will be participating in the Matchmaker. So that has been confirmed, and we definitely look forward to having NASA there and them working as a partner, a federal agency. So also with that, when you go to the Matchmaker website, you can see all of the agencies that have registered to participate in the Matchmaker. So also just got notice that NASA Langley is in Hampton, Virginia. So we will have a representative. That's a wonderful thing with these events being virtual now as a result of the pandemic. We can't have participation from representatives from outside of the Columbus or outside of the Ohio area. So NASA Langley from Hampton, Virginia will be participating, and NASA Glenn from Cleveland. So we are excited about that. And again, if you have not registered for the Matchmaker, November 17th and 18th, please go do that today. Registration is only $35, very low cost, but we definitely look forward to seeing you again virtually there. So again, thank you for your time today. Have a great day. The sun is out here, and we definitely look forward to having you join us for other webinars and participating on November 17th and 18th. Enjoy your weekend.